Hello everyone. So this week what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the back of my bag. So as I've told you, I want to do hexagons, Alfie. So this is a box of papers that I've cut out of old scrapbook paper. So I can use them. Ooh, some scissors. I haven't touched this box for a long time. So these are a bunch of hexies that I was doing for my son for a quilt many years ago, but I haven't done much. I've pieced some of it together. He wanted greens, reds, blue, grey, that kind of colours. So they're already pre-cut ones. I might use some of these actually. I know I've got some old bits of, that's an old bit of tablecloth. Alfie, calm down. I might pull a few bits out of here that will go nicely with my colours. That's Amy, mental blank, Amy. She's very, very neat sewing. I can't, Amy Simboldi, I think that's how you pronounce it. Ooh, that's a big one, don't need that template. Oh, and guess what? I found my sewing box finally. So it was in, green will go well, it was in, so when we did our classes, we had boxes of supplies. That one's already made up, may as well use that one. Boxes of supplies, and, don't know about that one. And I had looked in there for it, but didn't see it. And then I looked again, but I had to dig under stuff, and there it was. So I should have had a better look. Just finding a few that I might like to throw in. I love that. Love that. Look at this. I'm going to have it all made up, but I don't want it just in these colours. Let me see what else I've got. I'm just rummaging through these. Lots of nice boy fabrics. Well, some are boy, some are florally. Doesn't matter. Eventually I'll make this hexie quilt. Okay, let me have a look at the greens. I'm sorry, I'm probably off camera here. Like that one. Greys, no, probably not. Lots of reds cut up. Some nice reds in there. And blues. Greens, blues. Okay, I think I'm happy with what I've got. All right, so I'm going to put the box to the side and let's have a look at some of my other fabric. So I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to put that in the box because I can use that in Jamie's. I might use that one, possibly. Don't know. I'll put my big hexie template back in there. I wanted to use some orange. Let's just see the ones that were pre-cut already. And I have to work out my fabric size based on the front. I'm definitely want to use that one. That one maybe I won't bring in. I wanted to use that one. And these are all ones, obviously, I showed you last time I got from Beck. And some of them are on the front. I've already got that one. Probably keep those ones to the side. I thought I might add one out of the fabric I used on the front. That one. That's pretty. That's good. Bring in a bit of green. I liked that one. I definitely wanted that one. Okay, so we'll see how we go. Why don't I'm going to come back in a minute. I need to get my, I've got a sandpaper board where you put the fabric so I can trace it really easily. I'll grab that. I'll be back in a sec. All right, so I couldn't find my sandpaper board. I haven't used it in years. I kind of think I know where it is, but I couldn't find it. But anyway, I'm not going to keep wasting time. I'll deal with that later. I'm going to show you two ways that I know how to do hexagons. Now, I am not traditionally a quilter, so if all you quilters look at this and go, oh my gosh, and you roll your eyes and I've completely got it wrong, so be it. Go with it. It works for me. So you need a hexie template. This is my little hexie template I got from Sobe. She has lovely templates in neon pink. And so what you do is you get your fabric, and if I had the sandpaper board, I've just got it on a piece of cardboard, but if I had my sandpaper board, I'd put my fabric down and it wouldn't slide all over the place when I was drawing around my template. You need about 1/4 inch border. So this little strip here will be fine. And I'm just going to draw around my template. I'm leaning on the cardboard just because I'm on the wall mat and it wouldn't be so firm to draw onto. And then I just get my scissors and I cut 1/4 inch around it. Okay, so there's a little piece of fabric that can be a hexie. So what you do now is you need to put it onto your hexie cards. So these are ones I bought. These are ones I've made out of scrapbook paper. So these, I've got a little template on my, is it a Sizzix machine? You know, your die cut machine. And it cuts out the template. It needs to be the same size as what you've traced around. So that's perfect. And there's two ways you can do this. Now, the way that I see Beck's done, she's used the little glue method. The way I normally do is I use the sewing method, but the glue method is much quicker. So if you can do the glue method, it's better, quicker. So I'm going to show you both. So I'll keep my little cardboard there. I'll show you the glue method on a piece of scrapbooking paper. So you put down your card in the middle. I am going to use Yoo-Hoo glue. Normally there is a quilter's glue that's like a pen. I do have one of them, but again, I don't know where that is. This is just a cheapy one. This is just a school kind of glue, so didn't cost me much. So I'm just going to run a little bit on the edge. You could run on the fabric as well, and basically you fold over your edge, and I just finger press it. Okay, I'll run a little edge there. And then I just finger press it. I often actually, I've done two sides there, but I often go the opposite side just because the fabric can move around. So just gluing my little edge. I'm only putting a little bit on, just enough to hold it until I sew it. And what you can do once you've actually done this, then I probably would get the iron out and I would just iron them all just to make sure those edges are nice and crisp. So just fold that last one in there. And at this point, that's where I'd come along and iron. Just iron that down. Oops, little string there. Now I'm going to show you the downside for the glue method. Now, if I'm using the glue pen, maybe it wouldn't be like this, but sometimes you get a bit tacky fingers, so maybe just have some baby wipes near you. Beck, you're probably rolling your eyes and thinking there's much easier ways of doing this. But anyway, this is the way I know. And here's another one. So I haven't even drawn around this, or this one was from Beck. You can get templates, like this is a small one. You can get one that actually has, I do have another one that has the 1/4 inch allowance. So you just cut around it. Or sometimes I even just cut around the papers. But so this one, what I do is I fold in two sides and I have a needle that I've threaded up. And what I do is I just come under and get a little bit of each piece of the fabric. This is the way I do it, could be wrong, and I just do one little extra stitch like that. And when you do this method, you just got to be careful to keep it in the middle because it can move. Then I'd fold down the next edge. And then these stitches actually just stay in. You don't see them because eventually if you were making a quilt, they'd be sandwiched into the wadding. You're not going to see it anyway. Okay, this is normally the method I use. And then the next side. Okay, keep going till you get all the way around. I'll finish this one, then I'm going to show you how you stitch them together, just for anyone who hasn't done it before. This is definitely my favourite kind of hand piecing pattern for a quilt. Is this what we call English paper piecing? I think it is, isn't it? I think so. See, I'm not a quilter. I've dabbled a little bit. I've made 3 quilts, I think. One single bed one, so not that big, twin bed. One cot one for my friend. And then Rach and I collaborated and made a queen size one for a magazine, for a project for a magazine. Okay, and then I come back to where I started and I just go a couple of times over. So I've gone the whole way around. And then I just end it off. I'm not too fussed about it. As long as it holds it while I stitch them. Okay, and so let me show you. I have a piece of calico here, which is the right dimensions. So basically with my hexies, I need to have enough to even come over the edge. So I'd have to bring it down to like there. That one could be a small piece. You could even cut that in half and then use the other piece at the top. Okay, so that's the kind of thing. So I'm going to show you how to stitch them together. I like to use a smaller needle for all of this stuff. I just find it's easier to manipulate. So this is quite fun and relaxing, this kind of hand stitching. And it's something that you can just sit in front of the TV and just join your hexies together, but it does take a while. That one's a cool one too. So let's go. I like these two. All right, so get 2 hexies to start off with. And I like to use my quilting clips. And what you do is you just match them up. If you have a particular direction you want your hexies to go, well, you just have to work that out. So I'm just trying to line up my 2 edges. Hopefully you can see that. And what I'll do is I'll put a clip on either side, but out of the way of where I'm stitching. Now, stitching, just a plain sewing machine cotton. I usually just come through one side and then you've got to just grab the edge of the other. At the beginning, I usually do an extra stitch just to get it started. And I'm only just grabbing the very tiny edge. Okay, and now it's just a whip stitch. And I try to keep them, sorry, tangled on my scissors. I try to keep them fairly close together. So it does end up being nice and strong. Okay, and you do this all the way along until you get to the end. So this will be the start, and then I start building up the rest. I'm going to show you, I'll add in, I'll just get this one done first and then I'll add in my next one. Just making sure you get that fabric. I think I missed, so I just went again to make sure I just captured a tiny little bit of fabric. If you make your stitches too big and come too deep, you'll see them too much on the front. Like sometimes you'll see a little bit of the stitches, but it's only tiny. You're not going to notice them when they're in a big quilt or on the back of your little bag. I can probably take that one off now. And you leave all the papers in until the end. So I would leave them all in and then I'd iron my whole piece just to make sure those seams are pressed really well. And then at the end I'd take out all my little papers. You do end up getting faster at this. I started off slow, but it gets faster as you get going. Okay, and I want to come right up until I get to the corner. And when I get to the corner, I usually just do 2 stitches just to make sure it's not going to split. Okay, so those 2 are stitched. Take off your clip. What is, oh, I've just hooked, it's just the, oh, what did I do? I hooked it. Look what I did. Oh, well, just leave that there. It'll stay in the background. Okay, so let's go for a blue one now. And now you can decide which way you're going to stitch it on. I can stitch that way first or I can stitch that way. So let's just go this way. Again, I'm just going to line them up. I'll put a quilter's clip on, hold them in place, and exact same technique. So just capturing the edge. Okay, and I go all the way along, just the way I've just done. So what I'll do is I'll pop off the camera. I could even stitch over that later just to make sure it doesn't come undone. I must have hooked it around the thing. I just didn't even notice. You might have noticed. Okay, I'll pop off the camera while I just stitch along here. Then I'll come back and I'll show you how to add in another piece, what I would do and how to add that in. Okay, so we'll be back in a sec. All right, so I'm at the end and I take off my clips. I've still got my string attached. And what you can do, open out. Now that seam there gets stitched together eventually, but so I don't have to cut my string, I can literally just add another one in. So I just decide which way I'm going to join this. Okay, line it up, same process all over again. So my string is just here attached, and then I will start to go on my next 2. So then we come all the way along and you can just keep going. Eventually you're going to have a whole bunch of seams you have to like join together, but I just keep going if I can without knotting and ending this thread, and then I'll come back and do those other seams later. All right, so we'll be back soon. All right, so I have done quite a bit of stitching. Like this whole central piece is mostly stitched, couple of seams there. And then I've added in some extras. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch them tomorrow. I have a few more gaps to fill, so I will find a few more. So for example, no, not spots with spots. So I've got some bits and pieces that I can add in. I'm just going to show you a few randoms that could fit. I might not use these ones. These are just some that I'd made for Jamie's quilt that I hadn't used. So just to show you that I would go over the edge and then I'd trim it down when I was done. Where's a green one? There we go. That's a nice green one. In fact, I think they're all right. I may end up going with them tomorrow, but that's what my background will look like. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut this out, the other embroidery. I showed you this last week. And I might even stitch that down on one of my corners. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So I'd want to stitch it down so that you can still see lots of hexagon in the background. It's going to cover up a little bit, but just to give you an idea. Okay, just trimming it down, trying to stay relatively close to the edge, but not too close, because I need something to stitch onto. Could even come in there a bit further. And then what I might do is I might find a nice spot to stitch that down, and that's going to be the back. And then with my very, very bright zipper, I'm thinking that that's going to look really cool. All right, so that will be my back. I'll show you my front next week when it's all finished stitched, and my back will be finished by then as well. And then next week I will be constructing my bag. I'm just not sure yet if I'm going to use the sewing machine to put it together and cheat, because it will be quicker and easier, or if I will hand stitch it. Still to be determined. All right, so thank you for watching. I hope you like the idea I've got for my back, and I will see you again next week. Bye.